Breaking news tonight, another standoff in the South China Sea. The words flash across the television screen. Crowds gather in Manila, eyes glued to scenes of gray warships facing off at sea. Chinese Coast Guard vessels circle a Philippine supply ship near Ayungin Shoal. Tensions are sky high as radio warnings crackle. Chinese voices demand withdrawal, but the Philippine crew stands firm. The standoff turns tense as water cannons fire, drenching the deck. Filipino sailors scramble for cover. The world watches in real time. Social media erupts, hashtags trend stand with the Philippines. Families worry at home, knowing their loved ones are at the front lines of a growing crisis. Global leaders react. The United States voices concern. ASEAN members call for restraint, but behind the scenes, a new player is stepping up: Japan. Headlines shift. Japan ramps up support for Philippine Navy. The attention turns to a partnership that could change the balance in Asia. As the crisis unfolds, hope rises that help is on the way. The Philippine Navy is not alone in this fight. The world is about to see what teamwork truly means against rising challenges in the South China Sea. Japan's support did not appear overnight. Over the past few months, Japanese officials have visited Manila repeatedly. They met with Philippine Navy commanders, toured naval bases, and mapped out ways to help. The partnership is more than diplomatic, it is practical and immediate. Japan understands the stakes. Their own ships face similar challenges from China in the East China Sea. They know what it means to defend freedom of navigation. By supporting the Philippines, Japan stands up for principles that matter to both nations. This partnership is about more than just politics. Japanese military advisors work closely with their Filipino counterparts. They share intelligence, compare strategies, and set up joint training sessions. The two navies are learning to operate as a team, understanding each other's strengths and needs. In recent weeks, Japan has sent signals of real commitment. Their presence in Philippine naval exercises and their offers of equipment are turning words into action. The Philippine Navy now can count on a reliable friend in these dangerous waters. Japan's aid to the Philippines is not just promises, it starts with training. Japanese officers teach Filipino sailors advanced navigation, electronic warfare, and how to handle modern weapons. These sessions take place both in Japan and in Philippine naval academies. The skills learned are critical for facing high-pressure encounters at sea. Equipment is another big part of Japan's support. The Japanese government has provided patrol boats, radar systems, and spare parts for aging Philippine vessels. These are not hand-me-downs. They are top quality, built for tough conditions. Japan's generosity helps the Philippine Navy patrol its waters with new confidence. Joint operations are now a regular feature. Japanese ships join Philippine vessels for patrols and drills. The two navies practice search and rescue, interdiction, and defensive maneuvers. These exercises prepare crews to respond quickly and professionally when real crises erupt. All of this adds up to a steady boost in Philippine naval readiness. With Japan's help, the Philippines is far better equipped to stand its ground in the South China Sea. Why is Japan investing so much in the Philippine Navy? The answer is both simple and strategic. Japan understands that stability in the South China Sea is directly linked to its own security. If China dominates these waters, Japan's shipping lanes and economic interests are at risk. Japan and the Philippines share the same worries. Both see the need for a rules-based order at sea. They want freedom of navigation and respect for international law. Japan's leaders know that helping the Philippines is a way to push back against aggression without starting a direct conflict. There is also a sense of history and friendship. Japan and the Philippines have grown closer in recent years, building trust through trade, cultural exchange, and disaster relief. The memory of past conflicts has been replaced by a desire for peace and progress. By supporting the Philippine Navy, Japan sends a message: you are not alone. This partnership is a warning to those who would threaten the peace in Asia. It is also a blueprint for how nations can work together for a safer region. The effect of Japan's support is clear. Philippine sailors talk about feeling more confident on the job. With new patrol boats and better training, they are not afraid to face bigger, more aggressive ships. Their morale is higher than before. Commanders speak of a new sense of purpose. They know that Japan stands behind them, ready to assist in times of crisis. This backing changes the way the Philippine Navy operates in the South China Sea. There is less hesitation, more determination. With these improvements, the Philippine Navy is now taking a more active role in defending its territory. Regular patrols have increased. Encounters with foreign vessels are handled with new skill and discipline. The Japanese training makes a real difference in tense situations. Communities along the coast notice the change. They see more Navy ships in their waters and feel safer. Japan's help is not just a boost for the military, it's a source of pride for the whole country. In recent months, we've seen some headline-grabbing joint exercises. Back in February, Japanese destroyers actually sailed alongside Philippine frigates in the West Philippine Sea. The two navies practiced intercepting hostile vessels, rescuing damaged ships, and coordinating communications under stress. Definitely not easy tasks. Japan also donated 2 multi-role response vessels to the Philippine Navy. These ships are designed for search and rescue, patrol, and humanitarian missions. They come equipped with advanced radar and navigation systems, making them really valuable assets in contested waters. There's also the transfer of maritime surveillance drones. These unmanned aircraft extend the Philippine Navy's reach, allowing crews to monitor wide areas without putting lives at risk. Japanese technicians are training local operators, making sure the technology is used effectively. Every piece of aid and every joint drill sends a clear message. Japan's commitment is real and ongoing. The Philippine Navy isn't just receiving help, it's learning how to use it to its fullest. Imagine for a moment, a tense morning near Scarborough Shoal. A Philippine patrol boat spots a large, unmarked vessel approaching. The crew radios for support. Within minutes, a Japanese destroyer responds, moving right into position. The two ships communicate in real time, sharing data on the intruder's movements. The Japanese crew teaches their Filipino counterparts how to use radar jamming and electronic countermeasures. Together, they issue warnings and form a defensive line. The hostile vessel backs away, just not willing to challenge a united front. Calm returns, thanks to teamwork. In another scenario, a typhoon batters a coastal village. Both navies rush to deliver food, water, and medical aid. Japanese helicopters fly alongside Philippine ones, dropping supplies and rescuing stranded families. The joint effort saves lives and builds trust between the countries. These realistic scenes show how close cooperation works, not just in battle, but in disaster response and humanitarian missions. The partnership is proving itself where it matters most. Japan's involvement does not go unnoticed in Asia. Other countries are watching closely as the Philippine Navy grows stronger. Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia start to rethink their own defenses. They see that teamwork is possible and actually effective against common threats. China, too, is paying attention. Japanese support for the Philippines signals a new era. It's no longer easy for one country to intimidate another. The balance of power in the South China Sea is shifting, making unilateral actions riskier and less likely. Allies like the United States welcome the change. American ships often join Japan and the Philippines for larger exercises. This growing network of partnerships creates a web of security that's just harder to break. The region feels more stable, even as tensions remain high. These developments aren't just about ships and weapons, they're about building habits of cooperation and trust that could prevent future conflicts in Asia. The story is far from over. Japan's support for the Philippine Navy is set to grow in the coming years. More joint exercises are planned. Modern ships and surveillance gear are in the pipeline. The two countries are talking about even deeper cooperation, including intelligence sharing and joint command centers. For the Philippines, Japan is now a trusted partner. Together they're writing a new chapter in Asian security. The Philippine Navy will continue to modernize, gaining skills and confidence with each passing year. This partnership stands as a model for other nations facing similar challenges. It shows that teamwork, mutual respect, and practical help can turn the tide even in the most dangerous waters. The future of Philippine defense looks brighter, and the balance of power in Asia is changing. One ship, one crew, and one act of solidarity at a time.